Hey guys, what's up? Gonna give you guys a tour, or I guess a deck breakdown of the deck that I'm currently gonna be playing for this season. This is my Labrynth deck that I've been kind of working on and off. Got to play a lot of Labrynth during the event, and so I think I've gotten quite, at least I know how to pilot the basics of it. So I'm pretty confident in that. And this is just kind of my take on what the deck looks like. I'll talk about some of the card choices, and then yeah. So right now the new season just started, and I just started playing the deck actually, and yeah, it's a pretty good deck. Like you can win on turn 0 sometimes, or even turn 1. Let me show you my win rate right now. Actually, oops, not that. Go to Duel. So yeah, new season just started. I'm already Diamond 4. Just been playing for the last like 20 minutes, so not that much. But yeah, this season right here, all 4 wins already. So starting off pretty strong, and you can see the turn ends in 1. I think I went first all these turns. I think first or second. This one I might have gone second, but either way, like I steamrolled my opponent before they even got a chance to even play their turn. Um, yeah, it was against I think a few of them was against tier elements, but either way, it didn't matter. Like I just steamrolled them. They couldn't really get any fusion off just because my hand was full of hand traps, and then I was able to eradicate virus them every single turn or every single like um, time they started their turn. So that was pretty rough. But yeah, so this is basically IKEA labs. So you got all the furnitures, you got a couple hand traps, and then you just got your basic sets of traps here. So let's go through some of the cards and yeah, let's talk about it. So uh, here, Clue Clock. I actually been liking 2 Clue Clocks. I don't think 3 is necessary. 1 might be too little. I think 2 is okay. The reason why you want to play 2 is namely because you're gonna be playing against other Bestial cards or other shufflers like Kaido or Medora. So having a second copy seems to be pretty working pretty well for me, at least so far, right? Like, I haven't really got to play too much of the deck yet. Triple Maxi, triple Stovey, triple Ash, triple Chandelier. That's pretty basic. Triple Ariana, and then a couple of the our other disruption hand traps are gonna be Caldo, Medora, and Visceral. Okay, so Keldo and Medora, you never summon these guys. You always dump them for the cost of the Stovies and the Chandelier, and they just basically act as grave hate in the graveyard, which is nice. And or if they get milled by your opponent's tier element cards like the Kelvic and whatnot, then you can also use these to kind of screw with their plays. So they're kind of nice to have, not super necessary. But since I have them, I'm playing them. Same thing with Bistrils. Bistrils are pretty good against tier elements, against branded, against the mirror match. Like all 4 of these cards are really good against the mirror matches, because you can hit other people's Stovies, you can hit their Lady Labyrinths and Lovelies in the graveyard, bring out a 25 beater. That's all they're really there for, is just to be a DD Crow and be a 25 beater. Obviously, you want to see Mana Moot or Mana Hoot here before you want to see Druid Swarm. But yeah, those are the 4 that I'm playing. There's the other bistro that you can also add would be oops, bistros would be this guy over here. You can play 1 copy of him if you want to, because sometimes you'll draw Druid Swarm before you draw the Magna, and if that happens, it kind of sucks because Magna effect just doesn't fetch you anything. So if you want another target, you can play Baldrick, which is pretty good. Because Baldrick on the board, you can keep getting Stovies out on the board and then just like tributing the Stovies off, and then just banishing whatever ritual synchro shenanigans that your opponent's trying to do. So yeah, another pretty good interruption there. 1 lovely, 2 ladies. That's all I really need. Like, you don't I never seem to need the third lady, although a third lady would be nice sometimes, but most of the time this is it. Obviously, if they druid swarm you or they bistro you, then that kind of sucks because these are your main win condition, right? So if that happens, that kind of sucks. But you can generally these are in your graveyard. You can reoccur it with either big welcome, or you can recur it with mudcracker. So having just two is fine. I don't think you need a third copy because you don't want to break on them. So yeah, that's fine. And then triple pot of extravagance. We play three. Most of the time, we activate only one. If we ever see them. Otherwise, yeah, just triple. I don't think I need pot of prosperity because I'd rather just get the raw card advantage, and I don't really use my extra deck as much. And if you play three copies of this, most of the time you'll be able to activate all three copies if you never go into your extra deck because you go banish six, banish three. But if you play pot of prosperity, there's a chance that you draw a dead card, I guess. But I do like extravagance over prosperity in this particular deck. Labrynth. I honestly don't really like this card all that much because maybe I haven't used it enough. Because I rarely ever fetch this thing out. I only ever fetch this thing out if I really need some sort of spot removal. But most of the time, I'm just gonna go for the combo, and I'm not really gonna use its effect to pop anything or whatnot. So yeah, and then we have one Eradicator here. Yeah, searchable, nukes your opponent's hand. Pretty broken. Not much else to say. Dimensional barrier. Namely, this is for against tier elements. If you're able to activate this, then you can either stop their fusion. You can also use this to stop branded. So those are the two most popular fusion decks that you're going to be going to hit. Synchros, Exceeds, and Pendulums aren't going to be really too relevant. The only Exceed decks I can really think of is maybe like Trap Tricks that I can think of on the top of my head. And then Pendulums are more or less not really too relevant. And you have a couple of Abyss Actors, I guess. That might be sort of relevant. But, I mean, Abyss Actor should be a fairly easy matchup for this particular deck anyways, so I don't think you really have to worry about that. Synchros, Sword Souls are, they're like in and out of the format. Sometimes you'll see them, sometimes you won't. Maybe at the lower ranks you'll see them more, but at the higher ranks it's generally like tier elements and branded, so not much to really say about that here. Triple Imperm, just a good hand trap, good way to just force an activation with a lady, and then be able to summon lady on their turn, sort of like a turn 0 lady. So that's just the interaction there, but overall I think it's still a pretty good hand trap. Dogmatic Punishment, I don't think I've ever used this thing in the games I've played so far. I've used this one a little bit, but not so much punishment because the punishment targets are kind of awkward because if the punishment targets happen to be like tier element stuff, so I don't really want to hit any of the tier elements monsters because then it'll just trigger them and it'll like fuse. So I don't want to hit Habness or Merly or what's the other chick? I don't remember her name, sorry. But yeah, I don't really want to hit them with Dogmatic Punishment. This is namely just to hit something and then dump a Entis and hit a back row maybe. You need just like spot removal there. But yeah, outside of that, I don't think I've ever really used it. Ice Prison Mirror, pretty decent against some matchups, good against the mirror match. It can get a little awkward if your opponent's playing a mixture of types, but for the most part, most decks are within the same typing, so Dragon Prison Mirror is pretty good. And then just 2 welcomes and 3 big welcomes. This is your best card to kind of start off your combos with. And then I think Welcome Labyrinth it's okay. It's recurable by itself too, so you don't really need 3 copies. And all 5 of these cards are searchable with all of your Stovies and all that stuff, so you don't really need to play more copies of them. Same thing with like Labrynth. They're all searchable with Stovey and Chandelier, so you're essentially playing like just add 3 copies. Essentially playing 7 copies of Labyrinth, and like 8 of this and 9 of that. So for the most part, I think this is a decent ratio, and that's it. For the extra deck, it could be anything you want. I know some people are playing the DD package. I'm not playing the DD package. I'm talking about this thing here. Wave King, I think, or King Darius. And you can kind of link or exceed on top of them. They go into Deus Ex Machina. Unfortunately, I don't really want to spend the ultra rare points on him, so I didn't bother crafting any of these. But those are some options there. Some people play more Entis, some people play more Mudcracker. Honestly, it's just super flexible as to what you want it to be. And so for now, this is what I kind of have it as. Exciton, it's because it's a fiend. It can be summoned under when you're locked under big welcome. I think big welcome is the one that locks under fiend. Blah, 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 blah. Or is it welcome Labrynth that locks you under fiend? Yeah. So welcome Labrynth is the one that locks you under fiend. I don't think big welcome does, but either way, so it's a fiend, so you can summon it. Same thing with Babushka, it's a fiend, you can summon it. Generally, you're gonna overlay it with Anirana or one of these guys. But like I said, you rarely normal summon these guys at all, if ever. But it is there for that particular purpose. Another Labrynth card you could potentially play would be the other starter, kind of Ariane. People sometimes play one copy of her. I just could never really use her all that well, and so I'd never liked her in my deck, so I just didn't bother playing her. But if you play Ariane, she'll definitely help you link climb, and she'll also help you exceed summon if you plan on doing that. So she's kind of nice for that particular sense, but I don't particularly feel like I need to do that to win my games. Nightmare Phoenix, a fiend type, great, can be summoned. Dark, unfortunately not a fiend type, but he can help you link climb a little bit, and you can steal people's lovelies, you can steal people's ladies, you can steal I don't know, other bestial stuff. You can steal tier element stuff. You know, there's a lot of dark decks currently in the format, and so if I summon him, he's gonna be there to namely just to maybe steal a big beater or something like that, or to essentially link climb into something like Blackluster Soldier or Underworld Goddess. Mudcracker, I would recommend either 2 to 3 copies of her. She's definitely pretty good. She's her best way to reoccur the lovely and the ladies, because you basically just discard a card and then just summon them from the graveyard, which is kind of nice. And obviously helps you link climb too a little bit. She's not as free as Dark is. Obviously, Dark only targets opponent's graveyard, and this one more or less targets our own graveyard. So, yeah. And you know, she's specifically fiend type, where Dark can just grab any particular Dark you want. Blackluster Soldier, I don't think I summoned. Well, these two I haven't really summoned, but they are there for as options. Blackluster Soldier, you can obviously just use like a Stovey and a Ku Clock and a Silver, and then just make him, and he'll gain the can't be targeted, can't be destroyed by card effect, which is really good. And then you can just basically beat your opponent with him down if they don't have any way to remove him. So he's pretty good in that sense. Underworld Goddess, just another way to get over a Towers card, because yeah, Towers kind of hard for us to remove. We don't have any way of removing any card that has like an unaffected by unaffected cause effect. So like if you're against like Armwing or the Armor Master, you better hope you have something bigger than 3,000, because you're not getting rid of that thing anytime soon. So Underworld God is just a way to sort of get over Towers, and you can flood your board really easily with this particular deck if you really try. Char Brigade, Buddha Fata Piss 2, I don't really know his name. He's essentially just here so you can have a monster that's 3,500 attack, so you can send it with Dogmatic Punishment, and then after sending him, if you still have this guy in your deck, you can also send Garura and draw 1 card. So kind of nice interaction between those 2 cards, but that's it. You don't really need this package at all. The only card that I might cut here, maybe Wing Pegasus. You can cut the Exciton. I don't think you would summon him either. Then Grisu, just optional removal, optional beat stick. You can run him into bigger things, detach 1, and then summon the Zeus on top of him. That's the same thing about Babushka. Like Babushka and then Gisu are just ways for you to get into Zeus if you needed to, because it can't be destroyed by card effects, and this can't be destroyed by card effects either, I think. And you just run them into something slightly bigger or something in defense mode, and then just summon Zeus on top of that. Obviously, these are just to clear boards. Your Exceed package is just here to clear boards when you're behind. Other cards you can play. You could play the Cyframe Gamma package. That's another build I was trying to test out. I found that I ended up drawing Gamma more dead than necessary. Like, it is nice to be able to like get like, activate big welcome, or big any of the welcomes and not get ashed, because that's what they're namely going to be used for. It's either to get ash or max C. Max C, you don't really necessarily need to special summon all that much in this particular deck, so Max C is not really a huge like detriment to you, because you can just place all your cards face down and then just play on your opponent's turn if they do Max C you on your turn. So it's not a huge detriment. But I find that I do like Cyframe like against the Ash, but honestly it's not that important. Cyframe, it's also not bad in this particular deck because if you dead draw them, you can just use Stovey and the Channeler to just basically pitch it to the graveyard, and then search for your traps. So that was an option. If you do play this package, you can also toss in Omega. Sorry, couldn't spell Omega there. Yeah, you can play Cyframe Omega. You can play Excel Dragon over here. Because if you do Excel Dragon, what you can do is you can, if your opponent ashes you during your turn when you activate Big Welcome and you had Cyframe Omega, what you do is basically use the Cyframe Omega and the sorry, not Cyframe Omega. You use the Gamma and the driver to go into Excel, which then Excel, when it's summoned, you can bring back the Gamma, and then you can blink into Baron if you wanted to. So that's a way to get a free Baron if you want to. I don't think I really ever felt like I needed her. So if you don't play the Gamma package, then I wouldn't play that particular package. Funny thing is, you can actually summon out Wind Phoenix Pegasus. You can just normal summon one of these guys, or if you have one of these on the field, you can normal summon an Ash and then blink into this. And all it really does is just pops a spell or trap card, which I don't really know what spell or trap card you'd really want to get rid of all that badly, but here it is. Another option for your extra deck could be some of the other Nightmare monsters. You have options of Cerebus, or you have option of Unicorn. I don't have Unicorn, so I'm not playing it, but you could go to like Dark or Mud Cracker here and then go into Unicorn if you really needed to. I guess I felt like I don't need to as much, so I'm not really playing Unicorn. But yeah, I think another card you could play is Psychic and Punisher, I think. If I can spell Psychic. I'm really bad at spelling, guys. Yeah, Psychic and Punisher. It's a card you can actually make with this deck, or really easily, because you can just normal summon Ash and a Lady, Lovely or Lady, and then you can just link into Psychic and Punisher. Granted, I don't think I ever summon Ash. I rarely do, but that is an option there. The deck gets a lot better when Chaos Angel comes out. Right now, your extra deck is just kind of like whatever you have on hand, and this is what I have on hand, so I just shoved all the cards that I would potentially play into the deck. Let me go ahead and show you the other version, because this is the other version I'm kind of talking about anyways. So this version's got the we got the Gammas package. So this one I kind of sacrificed picking out the Bestial cards. That's another thing, is I think I like the Bestial cards over Gamma, just because they're big beaters. Granted, if you did use Welcome, you cannot summon out the Bestials because they will lock you into Fiends. So just be careful. You probably want to Bestial before you Welcome. Otherwise, the Bestials will be dead in your hand. So just be aware of that. And then the extra deck looks a little different, but not much different. I just cut out a couple of the Exceed cards I felt like I didn't need, and then just threw this particular package in here. The couple extra synchro monsters, but I don't think I'm gonna ever go into synchro monsters. Plus, running this particular package, you run the risk of activating Pot of Extravagance and then just banishing one of these cards, and then if you do Gamma, and at that point it kind of sucks. Like if you activate Pot of Extravagance and then they ash you and you Gamma and you banish one of these cards, then your Gamma and Driver just doesn't do anything. So that's all. That's the other thing I didn't like, because with playing Extravagance, you're gonna be losing random cards from your extra deck, and this particular version sort of makes Gamma a little worse, because you're playing Extravagance over Prosperity. But that's just my thinking, so that's why I think I went with going with this particular version better, where we don't really care for our extra deck as much, and we have bestials to do stuff. You can also banish your own stuff if you needed to, just to bring out body, in case that ever does occur. But yeah, you can activate Pot of Extravagance and not give a crap about what gets banished in here. I don't think I've ever went into my extra deck much, if at all. I maybe went into Mudcracker or Mudractor here, and that's it. Anyways, I think that's basically the deck. It's pretty straightforward, I wouldn't say cookie cutter, not too much high tech cards. Like you could, if you wanted to, play a couple Floodgates. You can play Skill Drains, you can play Rivalry, you can play Goalies and Match, although I don't think you want to play Goalies and Match, because these are... Actually, you probably could play both of them, because I think they're all Dark Fiend types. So that's not too bad. But I guess the reason why I'm not playing Skill Drain and Rivalries and whatnot is because I want to be able to go into my extra deck should I need to. Granted, I think Rivalry is just fine. I don't think you should play Goizen, because then you won't be able to go into half this stuff over here, because they are different attributes other than Dark. But you definitely play Rivalry. You definitely play Skill Drain as another card. Let me think. The other cards you can also play is Overroots as a trap card. I don't think I have one. Yeah, you can play Terror's the Overroot. I think I prefer Ice Prisoning, Ice Dragon's Prison over the Terrors, so that's why I'm playing that. And then I think, what else can you play? You can also play Deck Devastation if you wanted to, or some of their virus cards. Sorry, couldn't spell virus either. You can play Deck Devi or this one, Full Force Virus. These are a couple of the other viruses you can also play. I just chose the one that probably is the best one, which is Eradicator, because you can't really deal with spells or traps. Because we're not playing Harpy's Feather Dusters. We're not playing any ways to remove like floodgates and whatnot. So, yeah, Eradicator Virus is just one of the ways to deal with that. Monster-wise, we have plenty of ways to interact with people's monsters, so I don't think we really need full virus or Dex Devastation. Yeah. Other trap cards you can play, I think some people play the Archfiend. Where is it? The trap card. I think this one. Archfiend's Ghastly Glitch. So this one requires you to control a fiend monster on the board, so it's kind of situational sometimes. Allows you to pop a card on the board and then dump a fiend monster to the grave, which most of the time you'll be dumping like a Stovey or a Chandelier to the grave, or maybe Gluecock. So that's another option you can play there. And I think that's really it. I mean, the traps, because they're all soul searchable, you just generally just play one copy of each of the searchable traps, and then obviously just Impermanence is pretty good either at 2 or 3 copies. Overall, the deck is pretty strong. I want to say it is sort of expensive to make. If you have all the hand traps like Ash and Nightmare, or sorry, Maxi, and impermanence, then it's not too bad. It'll cut down on the cost a little bit because then you only have to craft the big mommies over here, and then the welcome labyrinth, which is like 8 cards, 8 ultras, which is it is a little pricey, but at least the rest of the deck is cheap. Like these are just rares, these are supers, and these are like commons, so those are really cheap to make. And in the extra deck, honestly, it's whatever you want it to be. I had some extra ultra points, and I decided to craft like Underworld Goddess. This you can get from a structure deck. This is super cheap to make. Entis is the only one that's like really expensive to make because like she's not really used in that many other decks. So yeah, little limited usage on her. Garura is always good to have. Pretty cheap to make over here. Unnecessary, I had one, so I'm tossing it in. Also unnecessary, I had a Dengisu, so I put it in. And then yeah, that's really it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile and this rundown of all the cards I'm talking about, and maybe I'll show some gameplay of it later. I know I didn't really show too much gameplays of my Trap Tricks decks as much as I was hoped because I was basically playing on an iPad while I was away for a bit in Hawaii, so I couldn't really record any of my gameplays. But that's basically how I got to Masters, is just playing on the iPad. And I lost a lot of matches on the iPad by just honestly just disconnecting, so that kind of pissed me off. But you know, it is what it is. So now that I'm back with my computer, I can sort of maybe record some gameplays here. But yeah, anyways, guys, that's it. Hope you enjoyed this deck profile, and I will see you guys next time.